Hello students, today we are going to start another chapter of your physics book, chapter number 4, module 1, uniformly accelerated motion. Let's see what is the objective of this chapter. Number 1, concept of rest and motion, Cartesian coordinate system and point object. You will also study about various motion parameters and related graphs. And in the last, you will study different equation of uniformly accelerated motion. Now let's see topic we are going to cover today: rest and motion, frame of reference and point object. Let's discuss the very first topic, that is rest and motion. Already you have studied in your previous classes. Let's recall that. A body is said to be at rest if it does not change its position with respect to its surroundings. On the other hand, if a body changes its position with respect to its surroundings, then the body is said to be in motion. Let's see what is given in your book. Rest and motion, same defines. Now one more thing, it is given that rest and motion are relative terms. But before discussing this thing, let's see there are different types of motion like translatory motion, rotatory motion and vibratory or oscillatory motion. Translatory motion means motion in a straight line path. Rotatory motion means when a body rotates about a fixed axis, and vibratory motion when an object moves to and fro about a fixed point. But in this module we deals with only translatory motion. Okay? For example, if we have to explain rest and motion are relative terms, we will explain that term with this suitable example. Suppose a book is lying on a table. The book is at rest with respect to the surrounding. You can see book is lying on a table. It means it is at rest. But the earth is revolving round the sun. Therefore, anything lying on the surface of the earth is also in motion. So if this book is lying on the earth and earth is revolving around the sun, what does it mean? The book is in motion also. It means that the book is in motion with respect to the sun, which gives us the result rest and motion are relative terms. Now let's see another topic, that is frame of reference. See, in order to describe the motion of an object, we require knowledge of position, velocity and acceleration of the object. Obviously, if we have to explain the motion of an object, we should know its position, we should know about its velocity and acceleration. However, position, velocity and acceleration of an object are different for different observers. Again, we'll take another example. Let us suppose a person is traveling in train and he passes by another person standing alongside the track like this. These are the passengers sitting in the train and a person standing alongside the track. The person standing along the track will see the person and everyone else in the train as being in motion, right? For that person which is standing outside the train, all the passengers and train both are in motion. But all the persons sitting in the train will be stationary with respect to each other. Means for this person, the second person is at rest, right? All the train is in motion. It means that an object may be in motion with respect to another object, but may be stationary with respect to a third object. Like if for A person, these B and C are in motion, but for B, that C person is at rest. Thus we find that position, velocity and acceleration of a body are relative terms. It means whether you can say that body is at rest or in motion, or whether what is its velocity and acceleration, all these terms are also relative. So it's quite difficult to explain them. Therefore, to make meaningful statement about the position, velocity, acceleration, etc., we have to refer the object at some fixed point or place. In other words, the position, velocity and acceleration, etc. are to be measured with respect to a prefixed point or place. Suppose I will give you this example. This is a point P, and if I ask you what is the position of this point, you are not able to answer. But if I give you a coordinate system, now you can explain that this P point is x distance away from x-axis, y distance away from y-axis, and z distance away from z-axis. So this x, y, z coordinate system is a type of frame of reference. Alright, now you have a fixed point from which you can measure the distance. Is it clear? Now see. So frame of reference, the fixed point or place with respect to which the position, velocity, acceleration, etc. of a body or an object is measured is known as frame of reference. Okay. Now, there are different types of frame of reference like Cartesian system, spherical polar coordinate system, and cylindrical coordinate system. But here we are going to discuss only Cartesian coordinate system. Now, what is this Cartesian coordinate system? The position of a particle is given with the help of a system of three mutually perpendicular axes, OX, OY, and OZ. These all are mutually perpendicular to each other, means they make an angle of 90 degree with each other. With OS, origin, this is called origin, a fixed point. Alright. Such a coordinate system is called rectangular Cartesian coordinate system. So this kind of system is called Cartesian coordinate system. Same as you have done in your mathematics, number line systems, all these are called the Cartesian coordinate system. Okay, how you can find the position of this particle? Already we have done in vectors. If I have to find the position of that point P, this one, then OP is equal to R vector, and R vector is equal to xi cap plus yz cap plus zk cap. Then magnitude will become under root x square plus y square plus z square. In the same way, you can find the position of this point P. Now, in the Cartesian coordinate system, if we have to specify the motion of a particle along a straight line, we need only one coordinate. Like this, only x-axis is required. And motion in such case is called motion in one dimension. And if a particle moves along a plane, we need two coordinate system. If a particle is moving in a plane, x and y axis, then we need two coordinates, x and y. And this is called motion in two dimension. If the particle moves along space, we need three coordinates to specify its position. If the particle is in space, then we need x-axis, y-axis as well as z-axis. And then we call motion of that particle three-dimensional motion. Now let's see what is given in your book. Alright, to study about the state of rest or motion of a particle, first we should specify its position. And for specifying its position, we need a coordinate system. If the motion of particle is along straight line, we need only one coordinate. And if the particle moves along a plane, we need two coordinate system. And if the particle moves in space, we need three coordinates to specify its position. Alright. Now, the last one is the particle or a point object. Every time when we study physics, we tell you consider a particle, consider an object. So, what is this particle or point object? Students, remember that an object is a point mass object if during motion in a given time it covers distances much greater than its size. If any object of any dimension, if it covers a distance much greater than its size, then we consider that object as a point mass object or just point object. For example, the revolution of Earth around the Sun, the diameter of Earth being very small as compared to the length of the orbit around the Sun, the Earth can be regarded as the point object. You can see here. So, the distance covered by Earth around the Sun is much greater than its actual size, so Earth can be considered as point object in such cases. Okay, but one thing you should remember, when we are going to treat any object as a point object, then its rotational and vibrational motions can be ignored. Alright. So a particle or a point object means an object without extent or dimension. What does it mean? It has no extent, no dimensions. We consider that object as a point object, but it is a geometrical point mass. In nature, or you can see in actual practice, we do not have an object without any dimensions. In actual practice, we don't have any kind of such objects. We will consider any object as a point mass object only and only when it covers a distance much greater than its size. But still, point object is very useful concept because it makes our study much easier. If an object is moved through a certain distance in certain time which is greater than its size, it can be considered as a point object. So this is the definition of point object which is given in your book. So concept of point object. In mechanics, a particle is a geometrical point mass or a material body of negligible dimension. It is only a mathematical idealization. You can consider a plane, a ball, car, ship, or even a earth as a point object, but only condition is the distance traveled by that object should be much greater than its size. So a body need not to be small to be considered as a point object. It is not necessary that body should be small in size. For example, again the same example, Earth can be considered as a point object for studying its motion around Sun. A train can be taken as point object provided it travels many kilometers. So this is the topic we have discussed today. Now you are able to answer these questions. Question number 1. Rest and motion are relative terms. Explain with 2 examples. Question number 2. Give an example of a body which is at rest with respect to one body but is in motion with respect to another. What is point object? Question number 4. While dealing with translatory motion of extended bodies, why do we treat them as point object? Question number 5. Under what condition can we treat a train as a point object? That's the end of the topic. Thank you.